Let go of my sister. More like myself.
This is my sister. Oh, you aggressive?
What do you have to do to prepare to commit?
Can improve yourself.
You have to be the
right? Something like that.
Oh,
like you have.
that's good. Do you have like the specific wording? It's very close.
What was close?
What I think Kevin said. I think.
Be prepared, self-preparation, improve yourself.
Yeah, that's right there.
Self-sufficiency.
It's I wrote the answer. By becoming the right person.
Yes. You have to be the right person.
To become the person
That
that the person you're looking for is looking for. Yeah.
It all started with what do you have to do to be
Yeah. It's kind of tongue twisters, yeah.
Do you guys want chocolate? Feel free. Take some.
You're telling I think Lizzie.
Chrissy, how they know. Come in. Let me open the door for her.
Okay, next one. So 1, 2, and 3 are from week 1. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are from week 2, or last week. Why is it that we don't see people around us who are preparing to become the right person? Oh, the answer was right there. Or number 4's answer was number 5. Okay. Why we don't see the people around us who are not preparing. Because remember how we're talking about how nobody actually does that. No one actually prepares.
We're not in the right place. We're not around the right people.
Oh, that's part of it.
Not looking at that place.
Okay, we're not looking at the right place, or we're not at that place. Okay. Very good. Number 6, what does it mean the relationships are never stronger than its weakest link?
Because the weakest link always drags everyone down.
Yeah. Because you always go down to the weakest person of the relationship.
Oh my God.
Lizzie! Just a little bit. Hey, go get food. Yeah, there's food left.
Did you guys start it?
Yeah, we already ate.
Let's go.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It just seems
Running.
Whoa, what's wrong?
Okay.
You can't go anywhere.
Calm down.
Flying King.
Okay, let's start with 7A. 7A. What did Jesus tell us about love?
You have to eat all of it. Do you want some more?
What did Jesus tell us about love?
What did they say?
You want spicy?
Huh?
And there's a fork.
What she said.
There's four.
That's good. I'm glad you know that one. But huh? Parental love? No. Do you guys remember? Hint is it's opposite of how the culture that we live in tell us define love. So how does Jesus define love, and how does the culture that we live in define love?
It's not. You're doing something even when you don't want to do it.
That's very close. That's very good, but a little more specific. But you're getting there.
It's not really like emotion or feeling. It's more.
So give me a specific Jesus command.
Love others as you.
Okay, so something like that, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't say feel love for one another
Do.
or feel love for your enemies. So
action.
it's an action. Yeah, so whenever Jesus describes love, he's always talking about action. Not that emotion isn't important, but he always describes it in an action word. Okay? Okay, let's connect it then. How is this related to becoming the right person?
What?
How is it related?
To becoming the right person.
Yeah.
Because actions speak louder than words.
That's getting there, but that's pretty good. But a little more specific.
When we
Turn on this.
For like loving unconditionally?
Not
Quite.
not the word unconditional. We're on the last one. We're on 7b. Lizia, what were you saying?
It's about preparing yourself for the relationship. So when you
Okay.
prepare yourself spiritually,
Not necessarily. I mean, yeah, it is spiritual, but not necessarily
is this
spiritual.
love? No.
Yeah. No. It's getting there, but it doesn't. It's not
I need
just spiritual. It's not necessarily like spiritual. But you're getting there. It's close. It's close.
It's because when you're doing all these loving actions, you'll find the right person who's also on that same path somehow.
Oh, it's getting closer. It's just you guys are kind of giving me like fuzzy answers. You guys are giving me like answers that you guys have kind of like heard from pastors, and like you guys are kind of like what's the answer? Jesus. Yes, Jesus is the answer, but you gotta kind of explain it to me. Kind of.
This is related to becoming the right.
Yeah. You guys are giving me more
More vague. I know.
more whatchamacallit, like cliche sayings. Okay, it's related to becoming the right person because so the whole idea of this relationship is in a relationship, we said finding the right person is not enough. Right? Because even if you find the perfect person, what's going to happen? The person could change, you can change, things happen, right? People get divorced, things happen, okay? So it doesn't ensure just because you meet the right person that things are going to be all right. So the author told us, what do we need to do? We need to prepare. How do we prepare? By me becoming the right person. But if I think of love as feeling, then is that going to help me to prepare to be a right person?
No.
To be the right person? No, because I have a wrong conception of love.
Okay.
Because I will always think I need to feel love towards somebody.
Yeah.
Then that's a good indicator of relationship.
No.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I need to, all right, don't go into yes, no mode. You have to really think, okay?
No.
So if you understand that love is an action, and if you know how to love people with action, and we're going to talk about that today, then that's going to better prepare you to become the right person. Because you're not always thinking about, I need to feel things. I need to feel things. As long as I feel something towards a guy or a girl, then things are going to be okay. But instead, if I go, how can I become a more loving person? How can I learn to actually love people? Then I'm growing. Yeah, and yes, spiritually, I'm growing as well. Because this is not going to happen without Jesus. Okay? Okay, with that all said, discussion question number 1. How would you define love? No, and don't give me that answer. Just like before this study, all this studies, like how would you have just defined it or
Doing something even though you don't want
No, don't give me those. That is a very correct answer. Thank you. But
I'll give you my definition of what I thought of love was.
Yes.
I said it was a choice.
okay, it was a choice. Love is a choice. You know, a lot of like at my previous church, we had like, what is love? And then we had like a lot of like older people like say, and all of them said something similar. It's like, it's a choice, or they say it's a commitment. Like love is commitment or something like that.
What is a commitment?
Love is commitment. So that's your answer? Okay. Anyone else? Well, how would you define love?
Love is patience.
No, don't go.
Fine.
Hey, please. Whoa, that sounds awfully familiar. How would you have defined love? I think I would have 100% defined love as a feeling.
What did you say?
Feeling.
Oh,
Yeah, feeling. Like, and then I think I would have said that feeling would last. That feeling would like continue to last for a long time. Then like that's true love then. Like I don't you know how like you like somebody and you're like, eh. But then that doesn't happen. Like you continue to just like keep liking that person. I thought that's what love is.
Unconditional acceptance.
Unconditional acceptance. Okay. Kev, any?
Have you seen the movie Love Story?
Oh yeah. Wait, Love Story? Not Love Actually? Love Story?
Yeah, it's an old, like 1960 movie.
Uh-uh.
It said love is never having to say you're sorry. Just so cheesy.
So you think you agree with that, or you're just saying
No,
that?
I'm just saying it.
Okay. Love is spelled Time.
Oh.
Okay.
Love is time.
All right. So let's talk about love. Okay.
T-I-M.
Tim.
Who's Tim?
Who's Tim? Yeah. So let's talk about how do we actually learn to love in a biblical way. Okay. And we're actually going to use what Sarah talked about. Let's pray real quick. Father, thank you so much that all of us can get together. God, as we I'm so thankful that we have relationships, but relationships are super difficult. And I know whether we're married or not, it's always difficult navigating around relationships. But God, you have, through your words, have taught us how to become a better person. And so God, I pray that you would teach us your wisdom and help us to apply these things in our lives as well. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, in Paul's letters to Christians living in Corinth, he describes love as a concept of mutual submission. Mutual. We'll talk about that a little bit later. His words line up precisely with Jesus' command to make love a verb. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
So it's an action, not an adjective. As we are about to discover, Paul breaks down love into a whole list of verbs. Whereas we grew up fantasizing about how the person we fall in love with make us feel, Paul points us to a different direction. Luis, if you don't mind.
Paul gives us the grown-up version of what love really is. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not in itself self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails.
Yeah, you guys, I don't know if you guys ever noticed that, right? Like, he doesn't talk about any emotional words here. Even angered, it's anger is an emotion, but he's talking more about the verb anger, right? So again, all of this is talking about how, again, there's things that we can do rather than focusing on how do I feel something towards a person or how do I make the feeling last for a longer time. Rather than that, again, the emphasis of our study and the Bible is how can you actually love somebody? Okay, so how can I be more patient? How can I be more kind? And that's what we'll be talking about today. Jonas?
So there's your to become list. Look back over the list and circle the qualities you're not looking for in your future partner. If you're currently in a relationship, circle the qualities you're willing to give your partner a pass on. The ones you would be willing to tell your partner aren't really important to you. Now that you know what you're expecting of him or her, maybe those should be the things you begin working on yourself.
Woo! Love that, right? Right, because I mean, think of so perfect for me and Tracy or Kevin. We're married. Okay, so I'm thinking about Grace. So you guys think about your future someone. Okay, so look at this list. Is it okay if that person is not patient with you? Is that okay? Is it okay if that person is not kind with you? Like, just go over the list. All of this, we're like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I want from my future spouse or my girlfriend or somebody. Does that make sense? So if we want that from somebody, then what do we need to do?
We need to be.
And we need to become that person as well. Because what makes you think this kind person is going to be with a very impatient person or unkind person? Does that make sense? All right. So basically, the whole concept of this study is if you expect something from the right person, again, the whole thing is you become the right person as well. Okay? So we're not going to be going over all of them. We're just going to be going over 3 of them. Okay. Sarah?
Childish love says, if I find someone who's as crazy about me as I am about him or her, everything on that list will just magically happen, and I wish upon a star. You know better. Do impatient people suddenly become patient simply because they've fallen in love? Not really.
Or they will be very patient with you for week 1, week 2, maybe 3 months, or maybe after they get married with you, maybe 1 year, but it's gonna leak. Right? People don't change that easily, unless they're really, trying to. All right, so let's talk about patience. Okay, really quick. What's your guys' definition of patience? What would be your definition of patience?
Patience in regards to
Relationship?
sitting down and
Relationship?
waiting, I mean,
Relationship?
Waiting without complaining.
Waiting without complaining. Oh, being understanding even if you don't agree.
I like that.
You like that one? Any other definitions? Patience. How many of you guys think you're impatient? All right, we got 2 patient 9s here. That's why we gotta love them 9s. All right.
Looking back, I was like, is he raising his hand?
You're like, Kelvin, you better. You're lifting it up, right? All right. So he's gonna give us a pretty cool definition, I think. Tracy, if you don't. Oh, or did Lizzie read?
No.
You didn't read. You didn't read it. Okay.
Patience is the decision to move at someone else's pace. Ooh. Rather than pressure him or her to match yours. Wow, I like that.
So good, huh? So good.
I need a minute.
Woo.
Patience is choosing to do less than you are capable of. Ooh, for the sake of keeping in step with someone else. Pace refers to a lot of things. Pace of conversation, pace of understanding, pace at which a person makes decisions. Wow. Pace of getting ready to go out. Patience is a decision to pause rather than push.
She's like, let me put my food down.
This is amazing.
Yeah, this is really good, right?
Yeah.
So instead of so if you're impatient, that means you're always pushing somebody.
yeah.
You're always pushing them, go faster, do this faster. You're not good enough. Okay? But instead, patience is for you to pause. Okay? For you to pause.
Powerful.
But very powerful. I think it's a great imagery. Okay? Let's keep going.
Patience is natural. Your natural pace is natural.
Oh.
Natural instinct is to assume that your pace is the pace by which all paces should be judged, right? So you think he's impatient and he thinks you're slow. She thinks you should be moving up in the company faster and you feel pressured. Love, as expressed through patience, never pressures another person to speed up in order to satisfy a desire to move at one's natural pace.
Oh. And the last paragraph is important. It's not saying you should never pressure a person. Okay? But if it is because you're going at a certain pace and you're not satisfied, and because of that, you're pushing them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it has to do
Because some people, they need some motivation. And motivating people to move and things like that, that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's saying. But it's saying, if you're doing it to satisfy you're just like frustrated because they're not going fast enough for you, not necessarily because you want better things for them. Do you understand the difference? Okay. So I think that's pretty important. Okay, very good.
Love defers the pace of the other. Love creates and allows for as much space, time, and margin as the other person needs. Love says, because I love you, I'll gear down, I'll move at your pace. Like everything in Paul's list, pace is simply a way of putting the other person first. Patience is an expression of submission.
Oh, so good. So good. Right? Because you're willing to say, instead of saying, I'm better than you, right? Because that's not submission, that's domination. It's I'm better than you, you get to my level.
That sounds toxic.
But love is about you're willing to both submit, right? But you submitting and saying, hey, I'm willing to lower my speed. I'm willing to go at your speed. Again, that's the idea of patience. Beautiful. Do you struggle with impatience? Yes. Then you have absolutely 100%. Then you have some work to do. But think of it as an investment. Oh, Sarah, you need to invest in patience. It's because we were talking about investment. Okay. Learning to gear down now will prepare you later to gear down later. Right? Because if you're like, no, I'll just be patient when I get married. That always works, right?
No.
I'll take care of it when I'm married, right? That always works. No, it never works. And rest assured, no matter how competent or talented your future spouse is, you'll need to have a well-exercised patient muscle. Because everybody's slow at something. Right? Not everybody's fast at every single thing. Except Enneagram 3s. So start now.
Wow.
No, I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. But 3s think that. Decide to move at the pace of the people around you. So you don't have to wait until, okay, when I get my boyfriend now or girlfriend now, like I'll start then, but it's saying you could start now. You could do that with your parents now. You could do that with your patients now. You can do that with your coworkers now. You can learn to, every single relationship, and that's why this is really important, no matter where you are at, relational-wise, whether you're married or not, you can start now. And that's the cool thing, okay? Because that's what love does. This one's good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That was real good.
This is so good.
That's so good. Any comments, thoughts?
No.
I think we need a lot of self-awareness too.
Yeah.
I think I was about to say, I think self-awareness is key to this because sometimes when I think of I think about a lot of stuff, like people around me, things I do. So it's like I'll sometimes sit back and like third party myself into what am I doing with the people around me or what am I doing with somebody else, and just kind of have to make my own outsider perspective of what I'm doing. Does this look right? Does it look wrong? But this right here, I mean, it's spot
That's
on.
good, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I like the second paragraph. Patience isn't natural. Your pace is natural, So I think it's easy to always look at like people with of course you need to do it as fast as or as efficient or as whatever as me because I could do it. Why can't you do it? And I think this reminds me that, this isn't something natural for me. And so it's something I have to work on. It's not, some people are just more patient than the other.
Exactly.
Yeah. They've actually learned to, they exercise their patience muscle. So I like that. Anybody else? Any other thing that kind of stuck out for you?
Yeah, going with the self-awareness, I think it's like an important part to work on so we can develop patience. Because when we have the ability to separate, okay, right now, am I thinking about the well-being of this person, or I am thinking about what I think?
That's a good one. That was a good one too.
Best, or I think I want, take that time to be, okay, what's going on here? Okay, it's about me because I think it should be this way. So let me step back and respect this person's pace. So that takes a lot of patience with yourself and a lot of self-reflection, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one. How would you define kindness? Love is patient. Love is kind. I think he wants one.
Sorry, reached down. Nice. Thank you.
How would you my baseball over there?
Sorry.
How would you define kindness? I think I would have defined it something like choosing to be nice when you could be mean. Like you, when you're like inside you want to be mean. I don't know.
Kindness is a mix of patience with wishing that person well, like wanting the best for the person in a patient way.
Okay, how about this? When do you guys use the word, oh, that person's kind? That person's really kind.
Nice.
Huh?
When they do something nice.
Okay.
Or when they are nice.
When they are nice, you just gotta.
When they're nice, compared to other people.
Oh, I see. So like everybody's kind of nice, but
Yeah.
if they're
Like if they're
nicer, they're kind.
or like they're nice in the situations you think that they couldn't be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's kind of what I was saying.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true. That's exactly what you said.
Right? I kind of said that. Like when you don't have.
When
Yeah.
you can't be nice and
Yeah.
don't want
I think it means to yield. Kind of.
To what was that? Yield. Okay, can you elaborate?
Like, if you have a want and the other person has a want, it's like you yield to their want.
And that's how you would define
That's
kindness.
Kindness is because like obviously every person has their own motive and
Uh.
their own like desires. But when you yield to someone else's desire, whether it be instant or like long term gratification, it's like you. I think like people see that as like being kind.
Hmm.
In some ways.
Kind of like selfless in some sense. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what he says. I forgot what he says. So. Softness feels soft, weak, but not so. Is it nice guys finish last? Not kind guys, right? Okay. Okay. Weak, but not so. To be kind is to leverage one's strength on behalf of others. So that's his definition. So you have strength, and you are using that strength to help somebody else.
Oh, wow.
That's how he uses kindness. Okay? When we're kind, we put our strength, our ability, our resources on loan to someone who lacks them. Therefore, kindness is powerful. Kindness, like patience, is a decision to do for others what they cannot in that moment do for themselves.
That's what you were saying.
No, I think mine's a little bit different.
No, everything else.
I think it's more similar to Tracy. But like thinking of others, but then this is talking more about like you're lending your resources. Like you're willing to give your resource to someone else because they need help.
You should be thinking about yourself.
Yeah, when yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what we do. Yeah. All right. Luis?
Kindness in its purest form is unconditional. It is not means to a personal end. The goal of kindness is to benefit the person to whom it's extended. Perhaps you've seen or given or even experienced that. Everybody knows how to be kind when kindness has a potential reward attached, right? Everybody's kind on the first date. Everybody's kind when there's something to be gained. The question you need to answer is, what is your natural response to people's weaknesses? Do you power up or do you loan your strength?
Okay, so there's two separate ideas here, but the first part is if you are being kind because you want to get something, that's not kindness, right? That's called business. Anybody can do that, okay? But this is talking about how, that's why in the purest form, even though probably none of us are like purely pure, but in most sense, it's unconditional in the sense that you're literally just lending them your power or resource because you love them for their sake. And then there's the second part of it, which is what do you do? So this is kind of I guess a self-assessment of whether you're kind or not. Whenever you see like weak people around you, like do you try to take advantage of that, or do you try to actually like are you willing to help them out?
I don't know if there's anybody who would actually like admit to the fact that they will take advantage of me.
They might not verbally. So that's why I'm not asking you guys to answer that, but I think that's a good self-assessment of, am I a kind person? Question?
What's the difference between kindness and grace?
Kindness and grace. I think in his definition, they're pretty similar. Yeah. Let's keep going.
Pay close attention to how a potential future partner responds to those they perceive as weak. Eventually, they will perceive a weakness in you. You will expect that potential partner to lean in and loan you some strength. But that will only happen if that person has developed the habit of opting for kindness in the face of weakness. And while I'm delving into your personal life, unkindness doesn't dissipate with the introduction of sex or a ring. In fact, odds are good that it will escalate.
Oh, that's so good. So it's basically saying, think of whoever maybe you're dating, or a good way to see whether they're kind or not is not if they're kind to you, because they're gonna be of course kind to you because they like you, or there's something they're getting out of it, but see how they treat a weak person, whatever their perception of weak person is. Are they willing to be kind? How do they, deal with them? Because the way they deal with whatever the weak person is, when you get married or when you get deeper into relationship, there's going to be time when, because all of us are weak in some areas, they're going to treat you that way. Okay? So it's talking about, and he's basically saying, just because you get married doesn't mean that they're going to be even kinder to you. If anything, he's saying after marriage, they're going to be even more unkind to you. Okay? So again, the concept of kindness, it's powerful. It's not a weak thing. It's a powerful thing, because only people who actually have resources, time, and strength can help out someone who's weaker. So in that sense, it's a powerful thing that you're doing. Have you guys, I think the best illustration of that is, have you guys ever seen the movie, what's that Nazi movie? The Schindler's List. Did you guys ever watch Schindler's List? Do you guys remember that scene where that crazy Nazi guy, they're all in the camp, and then he just randomly snipes at people, and then the main character comes in and says, hey, anybody can kill, but it's what if people know you as the kind person? I don't know if you guys remember that scene.
I don't.
Okay, but anyways, he's basically it's you bestowing kindness that shows power. You can forgive somebody, kind of a thing, show grace to somebody. So he's saying, he was basically trying to kind of fool him to say hey, stop sniping people and killing people, but he kind of I think it's true in that sense. All right, let's go to record keepers. This is from Love Does Not Keep Records of Wrong. That one. Okay. Who was the last one to read? Okay, Sarah.
Paul insists that love keeps no record of wrongs. Were either of your partners record keepers?
Parents.
Record keeper, every time they argue, the record keeper would open their mental file cabinet and start reading old transcripts, recounting in detail the sins of the past. Not their own, of course. That's a funny thing about relational record keepers. They rarely keep track of their own mistakes and indiscretions.
Okay.
Record keepers.
If you grew up with a record keeper, you're painfully aware of the negative relational dynamic that record keeping creates. If you grew up with one, you may have to fight not to become one. The challenge for record keepers is that they are right. The problem isn't their accuracy. The problem is the damage it does to a relationship. Rehearsing the past failures does nothing to alter or improve the future.
Oh, so many good. We could just go one line by line, and there's so much to unpack here. Okay, but the first part is if your parents were record keepers, then most likely there's a tendency for you to become a record keeper as well. Okay, the sins of the parents become our sins as well, kind of a thing. Okay, but I like the second part too. The idea is they're not wrong because you didn't make a mistake. It's just that it doesn't help your relationship. Let's keep going.
Think about it in the context of everything else you said about love thus far. Love is not about powering up. Love is about stepping down. Love is about elevating someone else. When someone holds your past over you, who's in the elevated position? That's right, the person with the filing cabinet. You've elevated yourself.
And that's often the reason why we record keep, right? So we say, oh, I'm going to file that sucker. And then next time, she does something wrong, I could bring that up. And then now I got the upper hand. I won the battle, or I look, but I did this, but look at all the stuff you did. Ha! It's like I want to win the battle kind of a thing. Let's keep going.
Love chooses not to keep dousing the present with the present with the past. Besides, it doesn't move the relationship forward. One of the parents was a record keeper. I suspect you gravitated relationally toward your other parent, didn't you? Who did you feel closest to, the father or the forgetter?
Ooh.
Funny how that works. Nobody gravitates towards humiliation.
Okay. Okay. So it's basically saying this is the concept of like learning to be showing grace, right? Learning to be willing to forgive, right? And not bringing up the old dirt over and over and over every time. Because again, your goal is because you want to get the topper, like you want to dominate again. So the whole idea about love is you want to submit. Okay. So 3 things: patience, kindness, and then no record keeping. Okay, those are just the 3 out of a lot of the list. Okay, let's finish with this. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. My summary of Paul's thoughts. Love chooses to see the best and believe the best while choosing to overlook the rest. Oh, that rhymes. Oh, it rhymes if you say it right. Chooses to see the best, believe the best, overlook the rest. Love looks for and celebrates good behavior. Unlike the record keeper, love loves to catch people doing the right thing. That is, when there's a gap, love does everything possible to protect the integrity of the relationship rather than undermine it with suspicion. Oh, so easy to say, but so hard. So it's basically, like we have expectations of one another, right, in relationship. And so there's always a gap. And that's where disappointment or bitterness or anger comes, because I'm like, I expect you to do this because of whatever, but you do this. And it's saying we always fill in the gap. And there's like anger or bitterness or record keeping or impatience and he's saying there's always going to be that gap within our relationship, but instead of filling it with negativity, what if we're able to fill it with positive things? So, okay, they failed this time, but there's some positive things that they have done. Or instead of like, maybe they just made a mistake and I could, talk to them about it and learn to forgive them. So it's more positive, filling in rather than, again, there's going to be something that goes in there. It's going to be either positive or a negative thing whenever there's that gap. And that's what he's saying. All right, let's go next. Luis.
Love is unnatural. Do any of these traits come naturally? Granted, we know how to turn
Nope.
them all on when we're winning and wooing. But love does not sustain itself naturally. What come naturally are passion, lust, chemistry, and that can't wait to get you alone feeling. But over time,
like sleep with you kind of a thing.
all of that is eventually squashed by our unbridled, selfish, self-preserving natures.
Oh, that's so true though, right? Because what comes naturally is the chemistry and like the physical attractiveness, and it's like, oh, I want to just be with them. I just want to spend more time with them. But if they're unkind, if they're impatient, if they're record keeping, what happens? All that chemistry, all that stuff, whoop, it goes out the window. So true, huh? So again, it tells us just because, and going back to the whole concept, right? Just because you're physically or sexually attracted to someone, that does not mean that, right? That relationally, it's compatible. And that's why we've been in a relationship where like that person just seems so awesome and everything seems so right. But because of character issues, like, all right. All right, let's go next.
Paul concludes his description of love. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. Are you ready to put your childish view of love behind you? Are you willing to abandon the assumption that once you meet the right person, you will magically become a different person? Are you ready to do the difficult but worthwhile work of becoming the person you're looking for is looking for? I hope so.
Oh, so good. So good. Okay. So again, the childish love is, I feel it, I want it, the end. And that's what a child does. Okay, but a mature love is being able to be patient, be kind, and not record keep, and be forgiving, and being able to be graceful. And obviously, and he doesn't talk about it here, but obviously that's not something, like literally, that's not natural for us in our tendency, but also it's not something we could just all of a sudden, okay, like I'm going to be kind tomorrow. Like it's not something we can do that, right? The only way we can do it is if we receive that from somebody else. Right? So we have to realize God has been very patient with me. So shouldn't I be patient with other people too? Or my spouse or my whatever. Okay? God has been very kind to me. Okay? God has he could record keep everything. But he's still willing to have a relationship with me and love me. That's what's really going to give you the resource and the motivation to actually learn to do those things for ourselves. We can't do it on our own. Okay. For this one, let's divide. Let's have Lizia join, and then you three. Okay. All right, go for it.